Well, good morning, my friend. Welcome to the Pastor's Podcast Friday morning. It's a little bit later than I normally come. Had to get some yard work done while it was cool this morning. And with everything going on, got a little bit behind in the yard. So got that done. And now we're ready to hit on with the Pastor's Podcast. Hope that you've had a wonderful week this week. Had a great day yesterday. Out soul winning, was able to lead a couple to Christ. And now looking forward to the weekend, getting ready for this Sunday, getting converts into church and seeing what God's going to do this Sunday. I hope that you're looking forward to it wherever you are. Let's be faithful to church. Summertime does not mean it's backsliding time. We've got to make sure that we do what is right, even in the middle of summer. It's wise to stay faithful in your routines of church. Don't you miss it. Don't you miss it. And certainly you won't regret that. Well, I want to talk to you this morning about turning victory into mourning. The scripture says in 2 Samuel chapter 19 and verse 2, and the victory that day was turned into mourning unto all the people, for the people heard say that day how the king was grieved for his son. Of all the things that David did that caused heartache to the end of his reign, he almost made the biggest mistake by turning a victory into a time of mourning. Though David's heart was mourning the loss of his son, his people had won a great victory, and their efforts needed to be rewarded with commendation and rewarding. So, though some may criticize Joab for getting on to David about his weeping for his son, Joab was right in the fact that David was shaming the people and God for not rejoicing over this great victory that he had over his son Absalom. Sadly, there are many in churches who turn victory into mourning or defeat. It never fails that after a great victory in a church, some people find in themselves to turn victory into mourning by picking apart the victory. You could have a big day, and someone is going to find something wrong with the day and turn victory into mourning. What was supposed to be a time of rejoicing now becomes a time of picking apart and defeating someone's spirit. The church can accomplish a great task, but someone is going to find something wrong with the task and turn victory into mourning. Now, I find two things can turn victory into mourning. Number one, a negative spirit will turn victory into mourning. Nothing will drag a victory down like a negative person who downplays what God's power did in a church. My friend, okay, so you see something wrong. Can you just be quiet and stop picking it apart and rejoice in the fact that God's working? Good night. Some of you aren't even happy with what God's doing. You're so negative. The fact that God even chose to work should cause everyone to rejoice. But a negative person can easily turn a victory into defeat by comparing the great victory to something else or by finding something wrong. Negative people, they are drained to the spirit of the church and the church leadership and those who are working hard, and they're drained to the ability to do something great for God because they're always negative. Second, a critical spirit turns victory into mourning. There's always that one person who doesn't see the victory as the whole, but they criticize one little part that maybe didn't work like it should have or like they wanted to. And if you look hard enough, you can always find something to criticize. But you must remember that you're criticizing the miraculous power of God because God works despite our weaknesses. And then you want to criticize it. Now, how do we avoid turning victory into mourning? First, always focus on the good and choose not to bring up the bad. Yes, there's a time to look at what needs improvement, but keep focused on the good that God did to keep a victory a victory. One thing I often teach is that there's always something good you can find if you search hard enough, even on a bad day. Yet, can I say this? There's always something bad you can find even on a good day. So your perspective should be, let's find the good and not a campaign to find the bad. Second, focus on the involvement of the people. If David had remembered all the sacrifice that his people made to win this battle, he would have realized that this was a great victory. People always sacrifice when God does something great and miraculous. The fact that people sacrifice to see if God will do something mighty through them should cause you to rejoice in the victory of the involvement of God's people. Third, enjoy the miracle. You may not always have them. If you pick the miracles apart, you're one day going to rue the fact that you didn't enjoy them when they're gone. Many people have picked great days apart only to wish they could have backed the miracle, when they could have the miracles back when they stopped. Now, I'm not looking for the miracles to stop. Many blessed churches in the past are a shadow of what they used to be because people tore the miracles apart, wore down the leadership to the point they didn't want it anymore. You remember Moses? The people of God, they wore Moses out to the point he smote that rock when he should have spoke to it. It wore on him. Now, my friend, you better enjoy those miracles while you have them, because one day you'll wish you could have them again, my friend. And I'm telling you right now, too many people are picking things apart when they need to say, you know what? Thank God I have a God who is willing to bless even our weaknesses. The fact that God's doing a miracle means he's doing it despite our flaws, despite our weaknesses, despite our shortcomings. You see, the miracle is God. We're the shortcomings. So you're always going to find the shortcomings. So don't focus on us. Focus on God, what God has done. And my friend, I'm telling you, you will destroy your own church. And one day you'll look back and say, well, where's all the miracles? Well, it's because your mouth and your negative and your destructive spirit has drug it down so that not even the pastor now can motivate people, because you're talking about every negative thing that you see inside your church. You better stop it, because while God's working, I'm telling you, I've been in churches where God used to work and then he's gone and they never get it back. If God's working in your church and God does something miraculous, yes, you could find negative because people are involved, but let's not look at that. Let's look at what God did. Let's rejoice in that fact. And let's say, you know what? Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Yes, we need to improve on areas, but let's keep going. Let's rejoice in the fact that God is doing the miraculous. Let's not be guilty of turning a victory into a time of mourning. Well, I hope this helps you today. Now, let's remember this weekend, be good to everyone. Everyone's having a tough time. Have a great weekend, my friend.